Hello, everybody. How are we today? I hope everyone is okay. Please let me know that I am live and that you can hear me or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that kind of shit is important to you guys, that I'm live and that you can hear me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Why? Maybe because it's not live chat. All right. Hello, Jason. Hello, Brett. Hello, Pia, the 40-year-old vegan. What's up? My hero. Hello, Tone. Hello, Marissa. B12 Babe. Love the name. Bianca, what's up? Hello, Friendo. And who else? Chip. Hello, Chip. The LTN is here as well. Hello, Jake. And I think that's about it. Did I miss anybody? If I missed anybody, please comment right now and we'll see. Okay, today, oh shit. The mic is speaking a little bit. B12 Babe does have a good name. Yes, it's very, very crucially important right now. So thank you for adopting that name. So what are we going to do tomorrow? In 3 parts, I think. We went through the report on how the meat industry and its misinfluencers, its willing or unwilling, no, all of them are willing, paid or unpaid shills, how they systematically, preemptively opposed and shat on the EAT-Lancet healthy diet, planetary diet report in 2019. Even before the report was seen light, they already were posting debunks, quote unquote, to that report as good little soldiers. And in what ways they were paid, either directly or indirectly, by either the meat industry or by gaining a lot of following and selling their own supplements and whatever the fuck. And then we watched Frederick Leroy, I think, speak a little bit on a conference that was part of that effort to discredit the EAT-Lancet healthy planetary diet report. And that Meat versus EAT-Lancet report came out also preemptively before their update on the report, which is the thing that we're gonna start at least reading now, today. This is the report. Forgot to say that obviously, as in the past, I'm going to make the horizontal recording of this available right after the stream so that people on the replay can enjoy the horizontal view, while here live we can enjoy the view increase of the vertical view as well. So the EAT-Lancet report got updated, and we're going to read the summary, not the entire report, because guys, even the summary is 33 pages long. And that is just too much for an attention span on online, in my opinion, right? So we're just gonna read that stuff. The earth is round. What's going on? Okay. Right. We all love me reading. So we're just going to do that and look at the lovely shade it gives to my face, this page. All right. This is almost unreadable to the people who have some kind of a condition like color blindness or something like that. That's poor choice of colors right there. Even I'm struggling. Damn. So this person, Professor Walter Willett, said transformation to healthy diets by 2050 will require substantial dietary shifts. Global consumption of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and legumes will have to double, and consumption of foods such as red meat and sugar will have to be reduced by more than 50%. That's the claim. A diet rich in plant-based foods with fewer animal source foods confers both improved health and environmental benefits. So just to make it clear, by no means is this report vegan, okay, as meat shields so often tried to make it seem. Again, the beautiful shade. Our food in the Anthropocene, healthy diet from sustainable food systems. Without action, the world risks failing to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We are gonna fail to meet them. And the Paris Agreement, and today's children will inherit a planet that has been severely degraded and where much of the population will increasingly suffer from malnutrition and preventable disease. That is hell of a fucking claim, innit? All right. So they are basically claiming the current omnivorous diets are malnutritious. Right? Am I reading this correctly? Put one in the chat if I'm reading this correctly. I did fucking... I muted the tab. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why that's not working. I'm gonna mute the site. Maybe I have it open somewhere. Maybe that's what's going on. No, it keeps going. I don't know why. Is it this? Give me a sec. But I have muted the app a really long time ago. So I don't know what's going on. And by the way, you know, messaging me, Felek, messaging me would increase would increase the notifications. Do not disturb. That points. Where does that point from? I don't know where you're pointing it from. Your graphic. Listen, we're just gonna have to deal with it, guys. That's just gonna have to be what's happening. All right? I'm gonna decrease the volume. I don't know why it's not helping. So it's part of life. I have a server. It's gonna ping. Yeah, but your arrow is points from an empty space. I don't know where to find the thing that you're saying. Your arrow points to an empty space. Nothing that I'm clicking does the thing that you're saying should do. So you're just gonna have to deal with it. Feel like we're live. It's fine. Oh, that's gonna be tiny for you guys, but we're gonna increase it. So food is the single strongest lever to optimize human health. Is it? I thought exercise is. I thought exercise and like genes. Well, genes are not levers. Genes are just like there. What's up, Ben? But is it the single strongest lever to optimize human health and environmental sustainability on Earth? I agree with the second one, but the first one, I thought exercise was much, much, much more important. However, food is currently threatening both people and the planet, I'm guessing, and the animals. You see, this is not a vegan report, right? What we are reading. So it's not going to have any consideration for the animals here. And the man's challenge facing humanity is to provide a growing world population with healthy diets from sustainable food systems. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will mention animals at some point, but it's definitely not coming out with it, are they? They're not jumping into it with animal, at the least fucking welfare, right? But no animal abolition either. While global food production of calories has generally kept pace with the population growth, more than 820 million people will still lack sufficient food, and many more consume either low-quality diets or too much food. Agree with that. Unhealthy diets now pose a greater risk to morbidity and mortality than unsafe sex, alcohol, drug, or tobacco use combined. Holy shit, that's quite the claim. That's quite the claim. I would love to see evidence for that. Global food production threatens climate stability and ecosystem resilience, and constitutes the single largest driver of environmental degradation and transgression of planetary boundaries. Taken together, the outcome is dire. A radical transformation of the global food system is urgently needed. This is the kind of sentence that the Sean Bakers of the world are going to take, and they're going to say, oh my fucking God, that's trying to take your steaks away. Like the radicals are coming for your steaks. Without action, the world risks failing to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement, and today's children will inherit a planet that has been severely degraded and where much of the population will increasingly suffer from malnutrition and preventable disease. There is substantial scientific evidence that links diet with human health and environmental sustainability. Yet the absence of globally agreed scientific targets for healthy diets and sustainable food production has hindered large-scale and coordinated efforts to transform the global food system. To address this critical need, the EAT-Lancet Commission convened 37 leading scientists from 16 countries in various disciplines, including human health, agriculture, political sciences, and environmental sustainability, to develop global scientific targets for healthy diets and sustainable food production. This just sounds so all-encompassing that I kind of can't believe that people are like against it. It's just like fucking crazy to me. What's today's agenda? Today we are reading the EAT-Lancet Report on healthy environmental diet, on the proposed healthy and best for the environment diet. Right, that's what we're talking about today. Yeah. This is the first attempt to set universal scientific targets for the food system that apply to all people and the planet. So they thought about the indigenous people as well, all right? They thought about the entire world. Food is the single strongest lever to optimize human health and the environmental sustainability on Earth. Again, I agree with the second one. I'm not sure about the first one. Yes, please, don't forget to like the video. The Commission focuses on two endpoints of the global food system: final consumption, healthy diets, and production, sustainable food production, see Figure 1. These factors disproportionately impact human health and environmental sustainability. The Commission acknowledges that food systems have environmental impact along the entire supply chain, from production to processing and retail, and furthermore, research beyond human and environmental health by also affecting society, culture, economy, and animal health and welfare. However, given the breadth and depth of each of these topics, it was necessary to place many important issues outside the scope of the Commission. So I wonder, Figure 1, let's check out Figure 1. Integrated agenda for the food in the Anthropocene recognizes that food forms an inextricable link between human health and environmental sustainability. The global food system must operate within boundaries for human health and food production to ensure healthy diets from sustainable food systems for nearly 10 billion people by 2050. all of this effort, and there are like a bunch of plonkers online, they're gonna say this is North Korea or something like that. That's crazy. Okay. To achieve planetary health diets for nearly 10 billion people by 2050. How do we do that? Right? Not a white person. Just had to point out, right, all the fallacies that have been thrown at us as vegans online. All right. Okay. A large body of work has emerged on the environmental impact of various diets, with most studies concluding that a diet rich in plant-based foods and with fewer animal source foods, confers both improved health and environmental benefits. How dare they say such a true thing? Overall, the literature indicates that such diets are win-win, in that they are good for both people and the planet. I don't, why they keep like omitting the here. I don't know, I'm not sure. Am I wrong? However, there is still no global consensus on what constitutes healthy diets and sustainable food production, and whether planetary health diets may be achieved for a global population of 10 billion people by 2050. I mean, by what we know, by reading the articles on Our World in Data, reducing animal production and increasing plant production would actually increase the number of people that we can feed. Right. By assessing the existing scientific evidence, the Commission developed global scientific targets for healthy diets and sustainable food production, and integrated these universal scientific targets into a common framework, the safe operating space for food systems, so that planetary health diets, both healthy and environmentally sustainable, could be identified. This safe operating space is defined by scientific targets for intakes of specific food groups, 100 to 300 grams a day of fruit. That's like 1 to 3 bananas, basically. To optimize human health, and scientific targets for sustainable food production to ensure a stable Earth system. I'm doing less of that lately, but fuck do I love fruit, and fuck do I eat at least 3 fruit a day, usually, not lately. Teacher, please, may I be excused? I need to use the bathroom. Yeah, go for it. I'm not gonna wait for you though. You can watch on the replay. That's no worries. Okay. The boundaries of the safe operating space are placed at the lower end of the scientific uncertainty range, establishing a safe space which is, if transgressed, would push humanity into uncertainty zone of rising risks. Okay, operating outside of this space for any Earth system process, high rates of biodiversity loss, or food group insufficient vegetable intake increases the risk of harm to the stability of the Earth system and human health. When viewed together as an integrated health and sustainability agenda, the scientific targets that define a safe operating space for food systems allow the evaluation of which diets and food production practices together will enable achievement of the SDGs and the Paris Agreement. So the SDGs, that thing, you know which one. Let us check this figure out. So lose. Oops. Sorry about that. The navigation is a little hard. So lose-win, win-win, win-lose. I'm not sure what this means. Do you understand what this means? Not sure. It's weird graphic in it. Scientific target define the safe operating space for food systems and are represented here by the orange ring. The wedges represent either dietary patterns And do we have the colors of the patterns? You know what? That doesn't matter. We kind of understand the thing, right? We kind of understand what's happening. They're basically saying if you keep everything the way it is now, it's going to be a problem. If you blah, blah, blah. So the win-win is if you address both the diet and the environment kind of situation, right? Like both sides of the diet, basically. What I mean, like both the consumer side and the production side. That's what I mean. That's fine. We don't have to read absolutely everything. All right. Setting scientific targets for healthy diets and sustainable food production. That's cool. So that's their proposed, that's their proposed food plate. So half the food is vegetables and mushrooms. And then is fruits in here as well. Yeah, the fruits, vegetables, and mushrooms should be half of what you eat. Interesting. Whole grains should be around 1/6, I think. And then plant sources of protein should be 1/7 or so, right? Unsaturated plant oils. That's interesting. They're proposing like a lot of oil. Maybe it's from calories and then that makes sense. But yeah, that's interesting. Seed oils are a huge part of this plate. That's interesting. And then you have starchy vegetables should be tiny. Shit. My love of potatoes is under scrutiny here. And then they have added sugars, also should be tiny sliver, but not as tiny as starchy vegetables. Fuck. I just ate like a huge amount of potatoes today. My food is always swimming in seed oils. Well, you're going to be very healthy, Jason. And then there is like two tiny slivers of dairy foods, about the same as the sugar, and animal sourced protein, also about the same as the sugar. So tiny fucking slivers. That's what they propose. That's less than I expected from them, frankly. That's less than I expected. That's crazy. A healthy diet, let me just zoom in right there. A healthy diet should optimize health, defined broadly as being a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely as absence of disease. Interesting. So the defining health by a current state, that's interesting. Like Nick would define health as like, I guess that he would define a food as healthy if it like increases the lag between current state and a sick state or something like that, right? So I'm paraphrasing his idea. But yeah, they're defining it as a complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Social well-being? Is that part of what we demand from food, really? What is Evo? Evo is avocado oil, I think. So scientific targets for healthy diets are based on the extensive literature on food dietary patterns and health outcomes. So this is scientific, guys. This is scientific, right? And then they say animal sources of protein, they also split it into a bunch of stuff, right? So like beef, lamb, pork, poultry, eggs, fish. They give very little small amounts of fish. That's interesting. I guess they replaced the omega-3s with unsaturated plant oils. So that makes sense. I think, based on the literature. And then legumes and nuts are in this green source. Is legumes and nuts. What about tofus? Where's the tofu, god fucking damn it? I guess it's part of beans. And then a planetary health plate should consist of by volume. Well, that makes a little more sense. So that makes a little more sense on the definition of dairy, on the proposition of dairy and animal proteins, right? But that makes very little sense in case of oils. If that's by volume, volume is like basically is its weight, isn't it? Am I right? Am I reading this right? Because if that's how much oil they propose by volume, what do you think they mean by volume here? Because I thought they did it by calories, which make no sense in case of fruit and veg, because they're very low in calories, I guess. I'm confused now. I'm not sure what's happening here, because that's a lot of oil to propose. I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah. And they put nuts as a protein source, which is also a little weird, because it's mostly a fat source. Saturated fat at that. I mean, nuts are really good for your health, but like health outcomes show that. But to drink throughout the day. I'm confused. I'm confused now, but that's okay. Maybe we'll. Oh, there you go. So let's zoom in here for a second. Let's read this. Healthy diets have an optimal caloric intake and consist largely of a diversity of plant-based foods, low amounts of animal source foods, contain unsaturated rather than saturated fats, and limited amounts of refined grains, highly processed foods, and added sugars. The highly processed foods is also confusing. Some highly processed foods are beneficial for health. Interesting altogether. I guess we're gonna find out at some point. So let's check this out, right? So they're saying like micronutrient intake, grams per day, caloric intake. So 811, how many calories altogether? Oh, that's 2,500 calories. That's gonna be a lot for me. But that's, I guess that's like an average man. Okay. So you have a lot of calories coming from whole grains, right? With wheat, corn, and other. That's cool. That's cool. Tubers of starchy potatoes. So they're only allowing 50 grams of potatoes a day? Well, I like potatoes way too much to do that. Holy shit. That is sad and upsetting. Why do they limit potatoes so much? I want to see the research on fucking potatoes. What the fuck is going on? That's upsetting. Okay, all vegetables, that's gonna be like 78 calories in 300 grams. That's, that's the power of actual vegetables. If you eat more of them, you consume less calories, right? Consume more volume. I also love potatoes. I don't know what's going on. Here. Why are they limiting potatoes to 50 grams a day? That's pathetic. That's a third of a regular sized potato. It's like maybe one of them mini potatoes. 2 mini potatoes a day? That's fucked up, man. I want to see that research. Was a Canadian. Who are you? I'm so sorry. It's a weird way to enter a chat, not gonna lie. Dogs are banned for meat as well, is because, say, there is a stray dog that could also be someone's pet. I forgot my account, okay. So, if I just like breed dogs that are nobody's pet, then it's okay. I don't want to relive this debate, not gonna lie. FMA. You're very confused. And it was confusing to talk to. All right, let's continue. That's vegetables. Fruit, they give only 200 grams. Earlier said, oh, okay, they said 1 to 300 grams. Okay, so that's 126 calories because fruit are a little more calorically dense. So milk, they give 250 grams. That's not that little. That's a quarter of a liter. It's quite a lot. So I'm really confused on how they counted this. If that's 250 grams, that's a tenth. That's not looks like that represents 1/10. That doesn't look like it represents 1/10. Whole raw dog meat, yeah. Dog milk. Tiny fucking amounts of animal products. Small amounts. That's legumes and nuts. Is that by dry matter? Yeah, if you look at the caloric thing. That's by dry matter. So that's not bad, but I would have loved to see tofu here. What the fuck is going on? One of the best protein sources, and they omit it from here. That's weird. Like that would be like a pure protein source. This does look like a little low on protein, this diet. But I would have to put it in chronometer, I'm not sure. And then they have unsaturated oils, 40 grams. Holy fuck, that's a lot. My intake is around 20 grams, and that seems like... No, it's less. It's much less. So when I'm counting calories, it's around like 6 or 7 grams or 10 grams, something like that. Now I'm not counting calories. It's going to be on average about 15 grams. And that seems like a lot to me. And yet they say 40 grams. I think maybe they are very convinced that it's like ALA is like really important. Maybe that's the reason they give it. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's per day with 2,500 calories in mind. That's crazy. And then they give a huge allowance for sugar as well. Wow. Wow. This is interesting. Definitely not vegan though. Like you have all of these things right there. 2 which spoons? Tablespoons? No. I think 1 tablespoon is 10 grams. How much? Give me a second. How much oil in a tablespoon? 1 tablespoon of oil typically weighs around 13 to 15 grams. Yeah, so it's like 3 tablespoons, basically. That's fucking a lot. You know, oil is like a health food, so like especially when replacing all the saturated fats, and especially if you take like a fortified canola oil that has like increase in omega-3 in there. Really good. But that's just like surprising that they allow so much. That's surprising. And the potatoes is, I guess it's not surprising. Like people have been talking that a potato like has like some detriment to health, but fuck, it's just like so unintuitive to me, because it also is like a huge nutritional powerhouse, the potato. Hey, what's up, Martin? Hello, hummus. Yeah, it's just it is surprising to me, the potato thing, because like if you put a potato in a chronometer, it's like lights up. It's so nutritiously heavy. So this is weird to me. I guess there is like some detriment to the package of that nutrition. So the plates below are example of a planetary health diet. This is a flexitarian diet, which is largely plant-based, but can optionally include, good, modest amounts of fish, meat, and dairy foods. So they propose a bunch of that as well. I think this is some kind of a fish thing going on right there. And then there's like, I think I would just put tofu right there, but I think that's like a little bit of dairy right there. And that is whole grain pita bread, I think. And the grains, yeah, the grains are good. There is like a tiny piece of fish right there. And that's like allowance for 2 days, I think. Something like that. That's like a huge piece, actually. And that just doesn't even look like a plate. Come on, guys. What the fuck is going on? And that's like also like looks like a huge amount of meat. That's like a weekly amount. Because what do they allow? They allow like 14 grams of beef per day. 14 grams of beef. That's like a fucking bite. A tiny bite in it. Holy shit. And then they give like a huge spread of like some kind of a steak thing right there. All right. Yeah, I don't know if it's like on average. I'm not sure. A lot of it is plant forward, as they promised, but some of it is confusing. Like that looks like a lot. Like the animal food portions look huge in comparison to what they actually allow, which is minuscule right there. You know, it's 13 grams of an egg. That's one third of an egg, I think. 1/4 even, maybe. How much is it? Doesn't matter. But it's like, that looks excessive. That looks like a month worth or something. Anyways, let's continue. Like, they should know better. They should know that people will take that and eat that every single day. Transformation to healthy diets by 2050 will require substantial dietary shifts. No shit. Well, we are amongst the, we are in the midst of, like the carnivore diet being incredibly spreading, right? Now, I'm not sure how many people tried the carnivore diet and left it. I'm not sure how many people tried the carnivore diet and left it on a stretcher. But yeah, it just seems like it's everywhere right now. It could be just like because I'm in the vegan sphere, and so it's like searching me, finding my attention or something like that. A cooked potato that has been in the fridge overnight. Yeah, it changes the amylase. It solidifies. Or amylose. I guess amylose solidifies. It does change the potato. Yeah. I don't understand flexitarian recipes. I thought the concept was only for meals that are offered to you when you have nothing else. What do you mean? Bro, why am I trying to understand? You are so confusing and confused. I'm not sure what you mean. The fuck? This includes a more than, like, FMA, I'm not the only one who's saying that, right? We sent the recorded debate to Vegan Gays, and she's gonna publish it. And she didn't understand what you mean either. And she's like the smartest of us all. So, and she had like the time to like actually think about it rather than being in the middle of a debate. So the way you communicate is just incredibly confusing. So it's not just me. Okay, I'm gonna stop undressing you. We have a mission here, right? To see what the fuck the hoopla is about. Like if someone doesn't want to deny themselves from a meat dish, so like I'm not understanding what you want. This is a proposed diet so that in 25 years time from now, we're not in the middle of a desert globally. So I'm not sure what the fuck you want and what the fuck you mean. They give it a flexitarian, like whatever flexitarian thing, because probably, right, because they were like, fuck, we can't just like give all animal products up or something like that, right? We can allow some detriment or whatever. It's kind of weird. So I don't fucking know what you want from me, FMA. This includes a more than doubling in the consumption. Like, I can't. Fuck. My need to like fix your perception. Bro, it kills the animal, it kills the environment, and it's probably like kills you faster. Put your fucking feelings aside, right? Who the fuck gives a shit that you want some meat sometimes? Who fucking cares? It harms animals whom you think are objects. Spoiler alert to everybody who's gonna see that fucking debate. It harms the animals, it harms the environment, and it harms you. So stop being a fucking baby and start denying yourself the most horrific thing that we as human beings are doing right now. Jesus. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jason. I spoiled a little bit. This includes a more than doubling of the consumption of healthy foods such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, and nuts, and a greater than 50% reduction in global consumption of less healthy foods such as added sugars and red meats. I don't know why they added the sugars anyways. We have like supplementary sugars, the alt sugars these days. And we can like invent the alt sugars to like be like less harmful to people with like gut issues and stuff like that. Like new types of sugar alternatives are coming out every single day, all the fucking time. Like every time you grab a drink, you're gonna find a new alt sugar in it. So basically, I'm hyperbolizing basically, but so I don't know why they're allowing sugar at all, frankly. Maybe because it's like a good crop or something. Not sure. I don't know. They said like potatoes and cassava, so I'm not sure they're allowing sweet potatoes either. Neil Smith. Although I'm not sure if sweet potato is considered to be like starchy. I don't know about that. But I love potatoes. It's one of my favorite foods on planet Earth. Okay. So health boundary 100%. So this is what are we looking at? Well, let's read this first. primary by reducing excessive consumption in wealthier countries. However, some populations worldwide depend on agro-pastoral livelihoods. Who gives a shit about them? Why are you putting that in there? And animal protein from livestock. Excuse me, why do we care about this? Why do you allow like a smaller population of like the people who like depend on it, right? And then just like fuck the rest of the population? No, fuck all of them. They can grow mushrooms. They can start growing other types of food. Like, what is this claim based on even? Like, I'm not sure. In addition, many populations continue to face significant burdens of undernutrition, and obtaining adequate quantities of micronutrients from plant source food alone can be difficult. I'm not sure also why they are not predicting the growing technology of like fermentation, precision fermentation. Like bacterial food can save the world, and it should be invested in. Food that is grown by bacteria is going to be like, it's incredibly healthy. It's the thing that is healthy in dairy, right? When people say dairy foods are healthy, they mean fermented dairy foods. It has the ability to produce the most diverse type of protein with the most efficient way. Because you barely need to water it, you barely need to give it nutrients. And you can grow it in the lab, so you barely need land. You can just like grow it in a fucking building. You can like basically like bioengineer, like precision ferment engineer the best food that has like all the nutrition that you need, the 75% protein food, and you can make it taste however the fuck you want. It's just like sounds like heaven, and they're not giving us here, they're not predicting this option here, which is strange to me. I guess they can't if they're like going based on scientific evidence. There is like, they can't say that, but you can predict that it's gonna be like the healthiest for you, just by the fact of how controlled it is. I don't know. Yeah, actually those areas have become too, oh, by the way, I can do that. Actually those areas have become too dry to keep animals, so look into changing their farming from animals to plants. Yeah, like Africa. Yeah. Like especially like Ethiopia. Yeah, too dry. So yeah, definitely. Have I taken the Good Food Institute's alternative proteins course? No. Can you send that to me? I do have my email in my bio, but I'm gonna also put it here. I might want to. That sounds interesting. I'm gonna read about it a little more first, though. That sounds interesting, though. I do want to. The Good Food Institute are doing a fantastic job there, covering all possible protein sources. So both plant-based, like precision fermented and cultivated. It's just like, sounds like a fantastic place to be in. Given these considerations, the role of animal source food in people's diets must be carefully considered in each context and within local and regional realities. Bro, that was not your job. That was not your job. That was not part of your job. So Africa eats mostly potatoes. Very little animal foods and very little of other diversity. And what is that? Is that like marine life or something? What is that blue thing? That looks like maybe marine abuse. Oh, sorry about that. It's really annoying that I can't just drag it around. And that's like the rest of the population eating way too many potatoes, I suppose, and way too much beef and shit, like meat. All right. So, more figures. Yay. That's North America. Again, eating way too much animal food. What is that? That's like South Asia. They're eating a lot of potatoes. See, you give the consideration to the livestock people though, but you don't give the consideration to potato people though, and you reduce the potato consumption to 50 grams a day. Fuck you. See, this is anti-vegan propaganda. I knew it. The fucking EAT-Lancet is anti-vegan propaganda. I'm joking, by the way. But yeah, still upsetting. Fucking upsetting to me. Not gonna lie. Okay, let's move on. I just want my potato. I want somebody to validate my potato addiction. Dietary changes from current diets toward healthy diets are likely to result in significant health benefits. The Commission analyzed the potential impacts of dietary change on diet-related disease mortality using 3 approaches. All 3 approaches concluded that dietary changes from current diets toward healthy diets are likely to result in major health benefits. This includes preventing approximately 11 million deaths per year, which represent between 19 to 24 in total deaths among adults. Let's just read this again. This includes preventing approximately 11 million deaths per year going on a plant-based diet or like not plant predominant diet, I guess they mean here, which represents between 19 and 24 of total deaths among adults. Yeah, that's like not a small feat. That's like a lot. Sustainable food production. That's target number 2. Interacting geophysical systems and processes in the Earth system, in particular between the climate system and the biosphere, regulate the state of the planet. The Commission focuses on 6 of these, Table 3, which are the main systems and processes affected by food production and for which scientific evidence allows the provision of quantifiable targets. These systems are processes and processes are being increasingly recognized as necessary parameters for system-wide definition of sustainable food production. For each of these, the Commission proposes boundaries that global food production should stay within to decrease the risk of irreversible and potentially catastrophic shifts of the Earth system. These planetary boundaries for food production conceptually define the upper limit of environmental effects for food production at the global scale. For the climate change boundary for food production, the underlying assumption that has been applied is that the world will follow the Paris Agreement, keeping global warming to well below 2 degrees, aiming for 1.5. I'm laughing like with pain because I don't think that it's gonna be fucking happening, is it? Do you know? You will know. He's like an awful. Do I know him? No. I've heard of him, I guess. But I haven't read any of his stuff. He's vegan, right? He's right. He writes like pro-vegan philosophy type situation. Hello, Jedediah. How are you, by the way? Okay. For the climate change boundary for food production, the underlying assumption that has been applied is that the world will follow the Paris Agreement. and decarbonize the global energy system by 2050. Fuck, we need to do this, but I'm laughing painfully because I don't think people are motivated by this in any kind of fucking way. It has also been assumed that world agriculture will transition towards sustainable food production, leading to a shift from land use being a net source of carbon to becoming a net sink of carbon. Yeah, we need to reforest quickly. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. The boundary estimate is thereby to assessment of the maximum amount of non-CO2 gases, methane and nitrous oxide. So all the lands, all the pasture lands must fucking become forests as quickly as possible, because it takes a really long time for the tree to grow. So we must plant them now. That have been assessed as both necessary and hard to further reduce, at least in order to achieve both healthy diets for everyone on the planet and the target of the Paris Agreement. So let us check out this table that they created. It's gonna be too much. Like that. Okay, so climate change. Control, variable, greenhouse gas emissions, boundary, some of that stuff. I can't read that shit, guys. We need like an environmental person to go over this. Land system change, freshwater use, the waste of water on animal agriculture is insane. Nitrogen cycling, phosphorus cycling, biodiversity loss, extinction rate. Yeah. By the way, if anybody wants to know this, so nitrogen and phosphorus that are in synthetic fertilizers, let's just say it like that, there is less problem putting synthetic fertilizers in soil than it is putting manure. It's just like less environmental damage, especially if like farmers actually taught how to do it, because sometimes they overdo it and that shit spills over into the water. But it spills over into the water much less than when it comes to shit for a fertilizing type situation. By the way, I just got a notification in about 30 minutes. This stream will be over and it will automatically redirect all of you guys into Vegan Gazer's stream. Something that will happen in 30 minutes. Just letting you know if you see something weird happening. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways. Right. Achieving planetary health diet. Achieving as... Yeah, you too, David. Please. Yeah. We did the petition for Zoe to be pardoned. It, like, people in my server posted it in general and people signed. I signed it. Yeah, definitely. Let me grab that petition actually and put it in the chat. Give me a second. Let me find that petition. There you go. freezoe.org is the petition. Please sign that petition, because nobody should go to jail for having empathy. That is fucked up shit. Nobody should go to jail for empathy. That is fucked up. It's not just jail, by the way. She will also own like $100,000 to the government. That's fucking fucked up. So please sign the petition if you can. Right, achieving a sustainable food system that can deliver healthy diets for a growing population presents formidable challenges. Then why didn't you talk about precision fermenting? Like, I know it doesn't have like a scientific rigor behind it, but it's a thing. It's an emerging thing. Like, they haven't talked about any of that stuff, it seems to me, by the plate, right? They didn't even like present the tofus of the world that already exist and already have like amazing health outcomes. So what the fuck? Kind of weird. That's how you know this is not a fucking vegan report. It makes not as much sense as if this was like a vegan report, at least to me, I guess. Finding solutions to these challenges requires an understanding of an environmental impact of various actions. The readily implementable actions investigated by the commissions were a global shift towards healthy diets, improved food production practices, and reduced food loss and waste. Then why the fuck did you put into your consideration the animal abusers? That's not part of your agenda. Bruh, I'm getting pissed off at this thing. Oh, we knew I would. The Commission's aim was to identify a set of actions that meet the scientific targets for the health diet and sustainable food production, which will allow for a transition of the global food system to within a safe operating space. This is kind of seems to be like repeating itself a little bit. Applying this framework to future projections of world development indicates that food systems can provide healthy diets, defined here as reference diet, for an estimated population of about 10 billion people by 2050, and remain within a safe operating space. However, even small increases in the consumption of red meat or dairy foods would make this goal difficult or impossible to achieve. The analysis shows that staying within the safe operating space for food system requires a combination of substantial shifts toward mostly plant-based dietary patterns, dramatic reductions in food losses and waste, and major improvements in food production practices. Did you hear that, Alpha Caras? You're a young man. You should start caring about your fucking future. Holy shit. While some individual actions are enough to stay within specific boundaries, no single intervention is enough to stay below all boundaries simultaneously. And then dietary shift, planetary diet wealth. So they have waste. Yeah, we can do more than that. We can like reduce waste by more than that. It's just like people need to change the way they purchase food, I think, right? Because I think most of the waste is on the consumer side. Most of the waste, people just throw away food because they bought too much food, or they bought food that they're not going to eat necessarily. So, all right. And then closing of yield gaps to about 75%, balancing nitrogen and phosphorus fertilizer application between over and under applying regions, improving water management, and implementation of agricultural mitigation options that are economic at the projected social cost of carbon in 2050. For biodiversity, it was assumed that land is expanded first into secondary habitat to all other managed ecosystems, and then intact forests. Yeah, so they assuming that it's going to be like reforesting and rewilding and whatever the fuck. Okay, so high levels of ambition practices to top of prod scenario. You know what, let's skip this one. Let's skip this. I think we understood what's happening. So, because I might want to finish this report today. I might not want to have like a second thing happening. So this is baseline. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna understand this thing. So let's just skip. Strategies, biodiversity loss, holy fuck. Okay. Water use. Dietary shift. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Okay, another person says something smart, I'm sure. So 5 strategies for a great food transformation. Let's see that. Okay. I'm sorry, you know it's going to be like smaller than the previous stuff, but I'm going to make it as big as possible. So the scientific targets set out by the Commission provides guidance for the necessary shift, recommending increased consumption of plant-based foods, including fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, while in many settings substantially limiting animal source foods. This concerned commitment can be achieved by making healthy foods more available, accessible, and affordable in place of unhealthier alternatives, improving information and food marketing, investing in public health information and sustainability education, implementing food-based dietary guidelines, and using healthcare services to deliver dietary advice and interventions. So, yep, then they give us a graph on what we should increase and what we should reduce and how much of it, right? So there you go. Look at the increase of nuts. That's a little crazy to me. I know nuts are incredibly healthy, but the calories, man, the calories and the low satiation, I think for most people, so I'm not sure. This does look seem a little strange in my opinion. I want to find the seed oils. No seed oils in here. Okay. I guess the seed oils, they're not advocating for increasing or reducing them. Maybe 40 grams, that was fucking crazy. Strategy 2, reorient agricultural priorities from producing high quantities of food to producing healthy foods. Well, they produce high quantities of foods because a lot of them are going to produce feed, aren't they? So agriculture and fisheries must not only produce enough calories to... What the heck was that? Look at that. There is a 2 there that is hiding. Agriculture and fisheries must not only produce enough calories to feed a growing global population, but must also produce a diversity of foods that nurture human health and support environmental sustainability. Alongside dietary shifts, agricultural and marine policies must be reoriented toward a variety of nutritious foods that enhance biodiversity rather than aiming for increased volume of a few crops, much of which is now used for animal feed. Yeah, there you go. They know that shit. Livestock production needs to be considered as in specific contexts. Maybe we should just like go away from this and just like reforest here and like not breed all of these individuals into existence in the first place. What the fuck? Substantially intensify food production to increase high quality output. Substantially intensify food production to increase high quality output. They mean intensify, they mean increase production? Or do they mean subsidies? The current global food system requires a new agricultural revolution that is based on sustainable intensification and driven by sustainability and system innovation. This would entail at least 75% reduction of yield gaps on current cropland, radical improvements in fertilizer and water use efficiency. I agree with that. Recycling of phosphorus, redistribution of global use of nitrogen and phosphorus, Implementing climate mitigation options, including changes in crop and feed management, and enhancing biodiversity within agricultural system. In addition, to achieve negative emissions globally as per Paris Agreement, the global food system must become a net carbon sink from 2040 and onward. We have only 15 years. Shit. Okay. Strong and coordinated, that's strategy number 4, strong and coordinated governance of land and oceans. Fuck, leave the oceans alone, Jesus Christ. We don't need the calories from fish. We can replace them with something plant-based, you know, like this kind of shit. This implies feeding humanity on existing agricultural land, i.e. by implementing a zero expansion policy of new agricultural land into natural ecosystems and species-rich forests, aiming management policies at restoring and reforesting degraded land, establishing international land use governance mechanisms, and adopting a half-earth strategy for biodiversity conservation. Okay, I guess. This says conserve at least 80% of pre-industrial species richness by protecting the remaining 50% of Earth's as intact ecosystems. Okay. Moreover, there is a need to improve the management of the world's oceans to ensure that fisheries, just like fuck off with the fisheries. We can just fuck off with the fisheries. We cannot have fisheries anymore. That would be like great. Do not negatively impact ecosystems, fish stocks are utilized responsibly. What the fuck, just leave them fucking alone. And global aquaculture production is expanded sustainably. Cute babies. Okay, strategy number 5, at least half food losses and waste in line with UN Sustainable Development Goals. That's correct. Like 33% of food ever produced is wasted, is lost globally. That's crazy. Substantially reducing food losses at the production side and food waste at the consumption side is essential. Well, then we should fuck off with all animal agriculture because it is food waste. It is food waste, right? It wastes calories. Like to a crazy amount. To stay within a safe operating space. Both technological solutions applied along the food supply chain and implementation of public policies are required in order to achieve an overall 50% reduction in global food loss and waste as per the targets of the SDGs. Actions include improving post-harvest infrastructure, food transport, processing and packing, increasing collaboration along the supply chain, training sorry, let me just disable that for an hour. Actions in packaging, wait, hold on. Post-harvest infrastructure, food transport, processing and packing, increasing collaboration along the supply chain, training and equipping producers, and educating consumers. Why are we not talking about animal agriculture here? Which wastes like potentially 90% of calories grown? Well, no, it's not going to be 90% because a lot of it, that's going to be forage. But like, was it like 34% of crops grown are going to animals? 34% loss. So you have 77% loss. 34% of that is lost to animal agriculture. 33% is lost to food waste. And we're not mentioning animal agriculture in this strategy. What the fuck? I'm pissed off. Shit. Okay. Conclusion. So we are going to finish today, guys. And the rest is going to be like, I guess, yeah, it's going to be some just like words from whatever people. So, conclusion. The global adoption of health diets from sustainable food systems would safeguard our planet and improve the health of billions. Bro, I'm still pissed off. It's strategy number 5, not mentioning animal agriculture, pissing me off. Okay. How food is produced, what it is consumed, and how much is lost or wasted all heavily shape the health of both people and planet. Again, just omitting the there. The EAT-Lancet Commission presents an integrated global framework and for the first time provides quantitative scientific targets for healthy diets and sustainable food production. The Commission shows that feeding 10 billion people a healthy diet within safe planetary boundaries for food production by 2050 is both possible and necessary. I fucking agree. But you piss me off. You're not mentioning the most important part. You're not mentioning it. I guess there are like a lot of people who like agriculture experts on that panel, so they had to omit some stuff, I guess. The data are both sufficient and strong enough to warrant immediate action. It also demonstrates that the universal adoption of a planetary health diet would help avoid severe environmental degradation and prevent approximately 11 million human deaths annually. However, to safeguard the natural systems and processes that humanity depends on and that ultimately determine the stability of the Earth system will require no less than a great food transformation. The Commission calls for widespread, multi-sector, multi-level action, including a sustainable global shift towards healthy dietary patterns, larger reduction in food loss and waste, and major improvements in food production practices. The data are both sufficient and strong enough to warrant immediate action. Food will be a defining issue of the 21st century. Unlocking its potential will catalyze and achievements of the achievements of both the SDGs and Paris Agreement. Food will be a defining issue of the 21st century. Unlocking its potential will catalyze the achievements of both the SDG and Paris Agreement. Why are we repeating the same fucking thing? I don't know. An unprecedented opportunity exists to develop food systems as a common thread between many international, national, and business policy frameworks, aiming for improved human health and environmental sustainability. Establishing clear scientific targets to guide food system transformation is an important step in realizing this opportunity. Let's see what is left. We might skip the rest. So, glossary. I think this is just going to repeat the same thing. Probably. Yeah, seems like it. And then the EAT-Lancet Commissions, those two plonkers. Sorry, I'm sure they're very smart people. And then about EAT-Lancet. I'm sorry, you're not plonkers. You did okay. You did the best you could, I guess. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I called them dickheads, basically. Right. A fair and sustainable global food system, healthy people and planet, leaving no one behind. That's important, actually. That's actually important, right? We have to consider the non-developed nations as well when we are talking about like globally moving everyone towards a more plant-forward diet. Because possibly you would have to like send help, basically, right? The way we already do. The way we already do. But it might, for a while, you might need to send more help, I guess. What else is there? Another beautiful, beautiful orange screen. And then that's the end. So, that's about it. Holy shit. Yeah. So what do you think, guys? Give me your thoughts about this if you were listening and not fighting each other in the thing. So we're talking about abortion now. Banks holiday. What does that have to do with the thing at hand? The EAT-Lancet report? What relevance does it have? I mean, they're talking about the increasing amount of human beings that we would need to feed by 2050, increasing by 2 billion. So maybe that's the link, right? Are you asking, should we reduce the population in other ways as well by aborting more people? We can talk about that, but I don't think it has anything to do with the EAT-Lancet report. That meant women's rights to choose veganism. That's funny, Kayla. We still in potatoes, yeah. So, guys, something different. Put one in the chat if you have relatively young kids or will have kids one day. Thinking of having kids one day. Put 2 in the chat if you have older kids and you're not gonna have kids. I'm gonna put 2. I'm gonna start it off. There you go. And if there is a big lag, that's gonna be funny to people. What you're supposed to put in 2 tone, or unless you are thinking of having more kids. No one is gonna have kids in my chat. Alphacarus, what about you? You gonna have kids one day? No kids, never kids. I mean, same. Which is unfortunate that a lot of people in the vegan movement are not willing to have kids, but I'm not gonna... This womb is closed. It's not gonna do anything. Thank you, Jake. Alphacaros, you don't know. So just in case, Alphacaros, you want to have kids one day, wouldn't you want them to have air to breathe? Water to drink? Calories to have? Maybe it's time to start thinking about that now, is what I'm trying to say. A friend of mine has 2 vegan kids. Does it count? Well, yeah, it counts. If they stay vegan, right? Of course, that counts. Anyways, yeah. So, I think this concludes our conversation about the EAT-Lancet report. Generally speaking, I know I got pissed off quite a lot while reading it, but generally speaking, if this can be implemented in some kind of way, I'm gonna tentatively support it. I'm not sure how in today's world this can be implemented. I guess I'm a little bit locked into the vegan sphere, where people who come in just generally don't give a shit. I think maybe there are more people who do give a shit out there. I'm just not privy to them. I don't know. Oh my god, you're such a piece of shit. Of course, I can't believe what a piece of shit you are. That's crazy. And then, okay. So, yeah, this concludes our reading of everything to do with EAT-Lancet report for now, I think. Maybe one day something comes up that would be interesting to revisit this series. But I think 5 parts we've given to this, with some other stuff in the middle. So it's interesting. Mike the Vegan made a video about the Reddit posts that we did last week. and connected it to the meat versus EAT-Lancet report, which I'm not sure if they're connected, frankly, but they that's what Mike did. I mean, I'm not sure they're connected directly, right? Like, I don't think the meat versus EAT-Lancet report gives us an understanding on what's happening, like, in the meat lobby cubicles or whatever the fuck, right? What text? What do you mean? This? The stuff on top of my head? That's you. That's all your work. And okay, so Alphacaros is a piece of shit, but we already knew that. Chip is still hoping that Alphacaros is not a piece of shit, which I think you should give up on, Chip, right? But I'm a hypocrite because I attempted to appeal to Alphacaros's nature. So I guess I haven't lost hope either. But that's the nature of the thing. All right. Put the copium away. Oh, you know. Alphacaros, by the way, did you think about the thing that we last spoke about? Are you gonna go to atheists and try to convince them to go vegan and then record all the bullet biting? Because that could be interesting. I think you can argue the vegan position at this point. You've been around for that long. It's just, I think, would be interesting to both you and me. In any case, guys, I'm gonna end the stream right here. It's gonna redirect to Vegan Gaze's stream, so don't leave this stream. It's gonna automatically go there, and it will give you, hit that like button, hit subscribe button if you haven't already, and it will give you like a minute or two to go pee or something. All right, see you next time.